Hello all, I am Vasanta. This project is done by me, Azure Associate Administrator. Find the link in the description box. Today, we're gonna create a new Azure Virtual Desktop deployment in Azure and joining those desktop to the host of on-premise domain controller and then configuring them and logging them into the Azure Virtual Desktop in Azure and can reach this domain controller, and that's how it's done on premise. You would need basically a VPN connectivity or some kind of connectivity between on premises and Azure, which is required as long as the storage account will be enabled with Active Directory. You can have a connectivity to your on premises domain controller, or you can run this domain controller if you do not have an on premises or domain controller system. So you can create a new DC in Azure, and again those users and groups can be synced to Azure and make sure they are working after that. We want to configure FSLOGIX for profiling so we can have a persistent desktop. So the assumption here is you do have an Azure subscription. If you do not have, you need to create one, and we're going to create from scratch. So I'm going to create a on-prem domain server. So for that, I'm going to create a resource group as AVD org. Going to create a virtual machine, and I'm giving virtual machine name as on-prem server, and I'm taking image 2019 Windows image. For the OS disk size, I have chosen standard B series 2 CPU 4 GB RAM, and I enable the run with Azure Spot Discount. This is because for testing purpose, it would cost me very low. But this VM can be evicted or deallocated without your permission or any notification. The reason behind the eviction of VM is if the Azure runs out of space, they may consume your space of CPU and RAM. So make sure before enabling the run with Azure Spot Discount, and I'm gonna choose F series size. Anyhow, this is a demo on-premises server, so this is enough to me. And enabling the port RDP HTTP. Now I'm gonna review and create this VM. Click create. You can see the deployment is in progress. So this virtual machines will act as a on-prem server, and we are going to configure Active Directory domain services and adding users. After adding the users, we're gonna sync the users to the Microsoft Entra ID in Azure portal. Now VM is successfully deployed. Now we are going to copy this private IP address and paste it to the virtual network subnet, DNS, custom DNS. So here I'm going to paste this private IP and configure this DNS configuration services. Now I'm gonna connect to the RDP connection. So this is considering as on-prem server. I'm going to configure Active Directory domain services in the server. Click Add and Rows Features. Still it's get refreshing. After the refresh, you can go to the roles and features. Select server roles. Select Active Directory domain services, DHCP services, DNS server. Next, I'm leaving everything default. I'm going to install now. It's going to install. While done, I'm going to create a storage account in Azure. I'm creating storage account name as IPL player. You can select either standard or premium, pay as you go first or provisioned. So here I'm gonna select the provisioned version 2. In advanced, I left by default. And in networking, I'm going to add a private IP, private endpoint. Other than, I leave as it is. I'm going to create storage account. I'm going to configure this DHCP and then Active Directory Domain Services Configuration Wizard. Here we have to give the domain name. I have a domain name called vPoint.info. If you want, you can get the domain name in the Big Rock website. I'm giving password. After this configuration, we have to restart the server. Still the deployment is in progress. The deployment is complete. Now I'm gonna create a file share. These file share are very important for the Azure Virtual Desktop configuration because all users in the domain they will be using the profile storage as this file share. The name I'm given as the IPL player file. Now I'm giving performance. I'll leave as it is. I'm going. I disable this backup because of testing purpose. I choose only 200 GB provision the storage. Here I have some files. So I'm gonna copy these files to the on-prem server. This file is nothing but the bulk users which I want to give access to the Azure Virtual Desktop. So I'm going to give this desktop to them. The another user list is a password changing of the users. So I have two files. So two are also a bulk change of the users. The two files are CSV files. So I'm gonna open the GitHub repository where I have a set of commands to execute. So these are the commands which helps to entry the users on the Active Directory domain. So I'm going to copy in the on-prem server. This is the command for to change the password of bulk users. I think still installation is on progress. This is the commands for Azure File Share Sync. This command helps to sync between the on-prem server and Azure Cloud. The file share is successfully deployed. You can see the URL, share URL also. So we're gonna mount on the on-prem server. Later we will do that. I'm going to copy this link github.com. If you want, you can use this link to use those bulk CSV files for practice purpose. So I'm gonna reconnect the on-prem server, which was restarted. It still get loading. These are the 4 users that I'm going to configure in Active Directory domain. So these 4 users are available in the that bulk CSV file. So we're gonna change the password of these 4 members also. Those 4 users are Dhoni, Virat, Raina, and Kali. This is the name, the cricketer's name. Just for test purpose, just for practice, I have taken their name, and we can change their reset their password in the other user list CSV file. Instead of adding one by one, it takes time. So what we are doing here, we are going to add the users at at a bulk single time. So I'm gonna create a desktop for these users. You can go with the desktop or remote app. I'm going to go with desktop because I want my user to log in to the VMs. But if you want to create an app, let's say Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel sheet, you want them to log in and just start Microsoft Word or any app of your choice without logging into a machine. But here, so this users works smoothly with medium or light, but having 4 users per CPU is really or 6 users CPU users per CPU, unless they are only going in to use the Microsoft Word or just the browser website or a couple of websites, and such it would be okay. But usually we go with a heavy, and if the users are using apps that using databasing or lots of PDF writing files, so apps that require a heavy CPU usage would go with a power which is one user per CPU. But the average I usually go with 2 users per CPU. So if we pick a size a machine with 4 CPU that basically can host 7 or 8 users working smoothly, and it would cost you very less. Well, so Microsoft recommends 8 CPU and 32 GB of RAM. That would basically would allow you to have 16 users on this machine working on it. So we are going to depend on the size. We'll see. You can see while configuring the Azure Visual Desktop. But now we are going to add the members in the domain controller. It's taking time. If the CPU domain, if the CP of the domain controller, say like 8 or 16, it would work very fast. Like F series are very great in compute resources. So while then I'm going to create a user in the Microsoft Intro ID. So this user is created on the domain vPoint.info, and this user will be the communicator between the cloud and the on-prem server. So I'm just to copy the auto-generated password, and I'm going to give him as the global administrator role. So this is the password of the Dhoni on-prem. Okay, server is successfully created. It's successfully configured. Now we are going to off this Internet Explorer high security, and I'm going to choose a Microsoft Edge as a default browser. So in Azure, this Microsoft Edge browser will be the default browser. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in to the Dhoni on-prem user ID. This is a Dhoni on-prem user ID, which will be used as a administrator for the on-prem VM. Will give access to the cloud. So I'm gonna copy the auto-generated password, which was generated when we create the user, and paste it here and give a new password. And even he also deserves to give the multi-factor authentication. So these are the authenticator app. You have to scan the QR code. When you scan the QR code, you will get the code to approve on your device. So every user should be authenticated through device. So this is the process they have done in Azure, which is great for security reasons. So authenticator is added successfully. So I'm going to Microsoft Enter ID. We can you can see there is only two users are available. Only two users are available. Now I'm going to bulk add the users. So when I bulk add the users, you can see that the users will be available even in Microsoft Enter ID also. So this is the repository where we'll have the commands to add the users in the Windows Server Active Directory. So first we are going to add the users in Windows Active Directory domain service. After that we are going to sync. After the sync you will get the users in the cloud. So now we're gonna use this first command in the terminal. You can use this command for your practice. Make sure the files are available in C drive. 4 entries are modified successfully. So to change the password, even you have to give a set of CSP instructions so that the password can be changed at a single time. Make sure the CSV files are available in file share. Now I check in Active Directory domain service. You can see the 4 users are available. These are the 4 users: Dhoni, Virat, Raina, and Kali. So these 4 users are available here in Active Directory. So I'm gonna to enable these users, enable account. Okay. Now I'm going to give a special permissions for the Dhoni to use this to access this computer. So I would like to give him as the administrator of this Onprem server and the domain admin and enterprise admin. Just click E, check names, you will get the enterprise admins. Click OK. And I'm gonna give the same privilege to even Virat. So I'm gonna give him as administrator, domain admin, and enterprise admin. Click OK. So I'm gonna use only 4 users. In these 4 users, I'm gonna only Dhoni and Virat because it takes too much time. So I choose only 2 members. So I'm gonna change the password for all users, for all 4 users, which I have configured in the CSV file. So make sure the file is available in C drive. I'm gonna run as administrator of the PowerShell ISC. So what I do now, I'm going to copy paste the command of the password change. So run this command in C drive. So I'm changing the directory to C. Now when I run this command, you can see the 4 users password are changed. are successfully changed. This this make sure these two files are available in C drive. And the next, we're gonna download the Microsoft Entra Connect application to sync the users in the cloud. So this is the application which helps to sync the users between the on-prem and cloud. So I have installing this Microsoft Entra Connect sync in the on-prem server. Use export setting. Connect to Microsoft Entra ID. So here I'm going to give the user ID of the Dhoni on-prem at vPoint.info, which we are created in the Microsoft Entra ID at the domain name of vPoint.info. Now I'm so this we have to give many passwords to sync this. And next we're gonna give the administrative user ID and password. So he is the administrator who is in cloud point vPoint.info. You can see is successfully configured. I think it takes little time. So then I prepare for the sync between the storage account on the on-prem server, which is mandatory. So for that we need a application called AZ file hybrid. It's a hybrid module. So I'm gonna download this file hybrid module. So this hybrid module which helps to sync between the storage account and the on-prem server. previous, we used the Microsoft Interconnect to sync the users between the Microsoft Azure and the on-prem server. So I'm directly going to download in the AZ Files Hybrid module in the GitHub. So I'm gonna paste this module in the C drive. This is not enough to communicate the storage account on-prem. So we did FSLogix application. So I'm gonna install the FSLogix applications. So this would help the users to use the storage account to use the desktop persistently. So I'm gonna copy this FSLogix in the C drive. I think still it's loading. I think we have to give it's successfully configured. So now you can check in the cloud in the Azure portal. The members which we have created in the on-prem server will be same replicated in the users of the Microsoft Entra ID. Refresh for 2-3 minutes. Actually, we have to check in the owner account. So this is my owner account S1303. So when we refresh here, you can see the users are available here. You can see the on-premises sync is S. So who are the on-premises is S? They are all from the external users. So next step is we have to give certain roles to the users who are came from external environment on premises. So we have to provide the users an Azure Virtual Desktop. To access the Virtual Desktop, we have to give certain roles like virtual machine administrator or virtual machine contributor or a virtual machine user login to log in their desktop. So without the permission, they will be not able to log in inside the desktop. So I'm gonna assign a role to Dhoni and Virat. I'm selecting a virtual machine administrator login. select members, search for Dhoni, and search for Virat. So Virtual Machine Administrator login is successfully created. Now we are going to create another role assignment called Virtual Machine User Login. Now I'm going to add the members, those two members called Dhoni and Virat. Now we're gonna add, I think the two rows are enough. No need of giving another role. So those two rows are pretty enough for Dhoni and Virat. Now we are going to sync the storage account to the on-prem server. So I'm gonna copy paste the commands which are given in GitHub. I'm gonna run those first three commands. And next we're gonna use the connect AZ account to use device authentication command. So the device will be authenticated to the Azure storage account. So I'm gonna run the selected command. You can see we get a URL and a password code. So we're gonna log in with the URL and the code. I'm gonna paste this code into the you can see the device is successfully authenticated, and you can see the subscription 1 is also configured. Now we're gonna configure the Azure storage account. Before configuring, please give the storage account name and the resource group name as it is given in the Azure portal. So we successfully got synced the storage account onto the on-prem server. Next, we're gonna debug the Azure storage account. to check the SMB protocol port, which is a 445 port. You can see the port 445 is active. You can so this in background, it authenticates the device and the storage account that should be communicated via AZ file hybrid module. So the authentication is successful. You can see the identity-based access is successfully configured in the file share. Active Directory Domain Services is enabled, and I'm going to enable the storage file data assembly share elevator contributor. So Active Directory is also synced, is also configured. So we want to map the file share. And we're gonna give permissions to this folder to Dhoni and Virat. Next, we're gonna configure for FSLOGIX. So we're gonna copy paste the FSLOGIX. We have pasted FSLOGIX in the Azure file share. So this file share acts as a storage center between the AVD Azure portal, and on-prem. So next we're gonna create a Azure Virtual Desktop. Select a desktop, pooled. Next, give name for session host. Select an image. Make sure the image has a multi-session. So I'm gonna use Windows 11 Enterprise multi-session 25H2, which I have recently created. So I'm gonna change the VM size. So I'm gonna choose the 2 CPU 4 GB RAM, which is pretty enough to me. Number of VMs I have chosen one VM. So the users gonna use only the Word or Excel sheet that is enough for CPU. So for one CPU, we can use two members, two users. So I'm gonna choose the Active Directory to join, and AD domain join user ID is Dhoni at waypoint.info, and password we have given as the domain password which we have created in the CSV file, and we're gonna give the virtual machine administrator account name and password, who is the administrator of the on-prem virtual machine. So I'm created a workspace here. I'm gonna recreate. There may be a certain number of failures when we are deploying the Azure Virtual Desktop. There are many common failures such as a quanta shortage or domain health check shortage. There are many number of failures, which is most common. So I'm gonna check once my quota. So my quota is pretty good. So there is no chance to get failure. Maybe other chance we have a domain health check or a domain join prob issues. So we have to rectify it again if it deployment get fails. There are many deployment failures. So be thorough with that. You can see the failures can be quota storage, domain health check fail, domain join link failed. You can see deployment is in progress. So until now, I'm gonna copy the FSLogix temp files to the Active Directory domain services. So these are the two files which is inside the FSLogix folder. So I'm gonna paste in the domain. In sysvol, in policies, we're gonna paste create name as policy definition. Please make sure the spellings, everything is given is right. Paste it here and inside another folder called ENUS. Gonna copy the ADML file inside the UNUS. So ADMX file and ADML file are configured successfully. Now we're gonna configure in the group policy management. So in group policy object, create a new object policy. We're gonna edit the FSLogix policy. If you can see in administrator template, FSLogix are available, and inside FSLogix Profile Container is available. FSLogix Profile Containers helps to persist the user data across non-persistent virtual machines. And now I'm gonna enable profile when VHT should apply. Enabled. Now we are going to enable this. You can see the deployment is complete. We're gonna to the VHT location. Here we gonna uh, use the URL link of the file share, which is available in the storage account file shares. So these are the file share URL link. I'm gonna copy this and paste it in the VHT locations. Slash AVD profiles. Make it as inverted slash. Click apply. OK. Next we're gonna change in the size in MBs. giving it as 3 GB. Click apply OK. So I think we have configured total 1, 2, 3, 4. Next we're gonna go into container. So here I'm going enable the flip-flop profile directory name, and I'm gonna enable volume type vhdx. Click OK. So the host pool is created successfully. Now we're gonna configure the users who will be having permissions to access the virtual desktop. Go to application groups, click assignments, add. So here are the users are available. These are the on-prem users. So I'm giving access to log in inside the virtual desktop. So I'm gonna subscribe and add the user ID of the on-prem user called Dhoni at vpoint.info and giving password to him, which we have created at bulk. Give next. So we're gonna authenticate via the device. So we're gonna log in inside the virtual desktop. So now we're gonna add a network. So map a network drive, which is the file share URL of the storage account file share. So we have to enter it manually. We cannot copy paste in the virtual desktop. So now I'm going back to the file share. Let me check the URL once. You can check the file share URL is available. So make sure the link, yeah, now the link is correct. So you can see the domain controller what we have copy paste the FSLogix file is available in virtual desktop folder because it is the same network drive which act as a center. Now we're gonna install the FSLogix setup, which helps the users to use the desktop persistently. So whatever they do daily task, so the daily task will be stored inside the file share. So whenever the users use this any desktop and they log in with their user ID and password, they will get their task correctly. Now I'm gonna add group policy management, the session host which we have created. We can see the session host in the Active Directory. So and I'm gonna create a new host IPL OU. So you can see this is the IPL host. This is the session host. Confirm once. You can see this session host. IP host 0. So the same host which is already configured in the Active Directory domain. So I'm gonna move the session host to the IP session host which I have created the new IU just now. So I'm gonna link this session host to the FSLogix profile. Go to group policy object, click link. So, so the FSLogix policy are successfully linked to the IP session host. Once we configure GPU update in the terminal, these are the two images, which is image one is the Dhoni image and the Virat Kohli image. So I'm going to copy and paste this image on the file share. So I'm gonna restart the Active Directory. I'm gonna restart the virtual desktop. So I'm gonna shut down. It's better to shut down the Active Directory rather than rebooting or restart. You can see health state is shut down. Users are not available to use the VM. So we can use for one CPU, 2 users are available to use. If for 2 CPUs, we can use almost 4 users. So we can use as a 4 session host. But right now, I choose only 2 users to use 2 session hosts in a single VM. So I'm gonna refresh once again. Give the password of the Dhoni. Now I'm gonna mount the file share again. Right click on the network, map network drive. Make sure the URL link the given is correct. So I'm gonna confirm once again. So the given URL is perfect. Just a small change. Give finish. You can see Dhoni's profile is created successfully. Now the image which I have copied from Onprem is available in Virtual Desktop. I'm gonna set as a default wallpaper of the MS Dhoni in the Dhoni uh, desktop, and I'm gonna download some video. So whatever we download, it will be available once again when we re-log in. If without FSLOGIX, you configure the virtual desktop, so it won't get uh, persistent storage. So the storage or whatever the file share you have, it will get vanished. So I have downloaded this video to show you that FSLogix should be configured to use the desktop persistently to save the daily tasks which you have done. It will be shared in the file share. So the same will be replicated in the file share. You can see the domain controller images are available, WhatsApp images and all. Then the Dhoni's profile is available. Inside the Dhoni's profile, you can see the VHDX metadata is available. So again, we're gonna configure for a Virat Kohli. You can see the FSLogix are available. So in Virat Kohli's folder, I'm gonna mount the file share. So I set as background wallpaper as Virat Kohli's wallpaper. So this is the Virat Kohli's desktop. You can see total 2 sessions are available for 2 CPU, 4 GB RAM. We can add 2 more members, but right now we don't have time. So we're gonna test this FSLogix. So I'm gonna sign out in the desktop. So I'm going to signing out the Dhoni, and also we'll do signing out for Virat Kohli. Now we're gonna sign out the Virat. When you without installing the FSLogix app services, when you sign out, so whatever the wallpaper you have set background in the desktop and whatever the files you download in the download file, everything will get vanished without FSLogix. So you can see in file share Virat and Dhoni, both files are available. Dhoni's profile and Virat's profile. So we can Use as much as members you can use according to your purposes. For only Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or simple works, we can use for one CPU, two members. If I have two CPU, I can add four members. So the whatever the members use the desktop, the files, everything will be stored in the file share, which we have created in the storage account. So for that, make sure the FSLogix works in the background. If FSLogix is not configured, so whatever the files we have inside the desktop, it will get removed. It will get removed as in the sense it won't get uh, it won't get stored in the file share. So now we have already signing out Dhoni and Virat from the desktop. Let us check once again whether we have downloaded some files in this Dhoni's desktop, and we have set the background as Dhoni's image, and in Virat we have set a background image in Virat. Let us check now. You can see FSLogix working on background. You can see the MS Dhoni's background image is available. Now we'll check the files are available or not. You can see the downloaded file is available. So he can change the desktop. He can move to the other VM also if the file share FSLogix is configured, rather than sticking to a single VM or a single session host. So he can use multi-host with his user ID and login. So I'm gonna check for Virat desktop. You can see the FSLogix are working fine. You can see the background image of the Virat is available. So FSLogix is working fine. So next we're gonna create another two VMs in the host pool. I'll show you how to create another two VMs in host pool. In case if I have some 20 or 30 members, we can immediately create the host pool virtual machines, calculating the users per CPU and the daily tasks they do, or according to the task which we have given to user, we can create a multiple CPUs and RAM memory. I think F series are the best to use. for the compute optimization. But now I check for D series. A B series, it is costless, but then also I try for D series. D series 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM. Give administrator a user ID and password. Confirm the password. Almost the same as like previous we did. Once the host pool is creating, we gonna sync again the Active Directory domain service. You can see the vPoint domain is available. So, but this by refreshing the schema at the background, the domain health check and the domain related queries will be resolved. Mm, The schema is successfully refreshed. Now next we gonna check the deployment of the host pool. Yeah, the deployment is complete. You can see 3 virtual machines are available to connect. Refresh again. You can see the 3 VMs are available. According to the CPU and the RAM, the session host will be splitted to the users. This Azure Virtual Desktop is an non-persistent virtual machines. So to make it persistent to use machines, you have to configure the FSLogix Profile Containers to persist the user data across non-persistent virtual machines. And the main thing is that make sure the users are in the domain and are synced to the Microsoft Entra ID. After the Microsoft Entra ID sync, we are going to give the roles to access the Azure Virtual Desktop. So here comes the end of the video. I hope this video helps you to deploy the AVD without any failures. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time. Bye.